Hey guys, Jeff from Enoch Paintball here. So I wanted to show you the LED prototypes. So this is my dark LED that had a completely shredded and miswired harness. I couldn't get it back together. Multiple solder connections to the wrong connector, and just finally decided enough was enough. So this is the old LED board. And this is what is left of my old harness, which is why I had absolutely no problem cutting it out. Okay, so we'll put that all aside. I thought about, when I was making the board, trying to adapt to the existing harness, and because of that, I couldn't bring myself to do it. So this is a complete replacement, but it is not drop-in. It does require a little bit of soldering on the solenoid wires only, and that's the best we could do to make this all work. So this is the new board. As you can see, it's got the same Bluetooth module, same OLED. They are replaceable, just like the A1s with those recessed connectors. Okay. Programming port, eye port for the very few out there that have eyes. It will just take the predator eyes, the wired eyes. Okay. And then we have the Noid connector, 2-pin standard, 2-pin battery connector, a 4-pin LED connector, and then a 2-pin for the micro switch. All on replaceable headers, all individuals, so that if one piece ever needs to be replaced, you're not looking at a whole new harness. Okay. So what needs to be done to install this is, the first thing is to remove the entire existing harness. So what I did was remove the grip frame. Okay. Remove the back plate. Remove the charging port from the back plate. And the only place you actually have to cut, other than the charging port, to actually get it removed is the Noid connector. And I left as much wire as possible off the Noid connector. And all we're going to do is take a standard, like the LCD 2-pin JST connector, and we're going to solder that onto here. And the install kit will come with heat shrink to go on top. So all you have to do really is solder these two wires together and heat shrink it, and that is it in terms of actual soldering. The micro switch will come on a 2-pin JST connector, just a little standalone switch, and the LED will come on a 4-pin connector. I had to go with a larger LED. Unfortunately, they do not make a full color RGB LED in this size, so this little lens cover here is abandoned. But I did not want to drill or modify any of the body or the back plate. So what I did was I found a little LED holder that snaps right into the existing hole, and the LED snaps into there. If I can push it in with two hands here. Okay, and it clicks in, and that is in. Okay, you could put a little dab of hot glue on the back if you wanted to, but it's really not necessary. Okay, so your LED will be moved to there without modifying any of the existing body. I thought that was, I was pretty proud of myself for figuring that one out. Okay, so once you solder in the Noid connector, you would run the Noid wire through the body like that. I can't believe I got that on the first try without even looking. You would run the LED connector through the body, and you can seal that up. Okay. The micro switch we're going to install here. You can install it either way, upside up or upside down, depending on whether you have a single trigger or a double trigger and how it lands on the trigger. Most LEDs I found with if you put the leaf facing down, it'll be a little bit more responsive. Okay, and then the board just drops right in like that. Okay, and you can see, nice and flush, no pieces sticking out. Okay, and then we have our battery connector. I've already installed this. This is a bit of a pain. I could not find a switch with holes that small, so I had to go with a bolt with a nut on it, and that is a fun adventure to get installed, but it looks pretty stock when you're done. Okay, nice long wire so that when we feed this up the body and out the battery tube, we could actually remove the battery to charge. I will make this a little shorter in the final version so that it just hangs out kind of right here. Okay, and I really struggled with the battery. You cannot fit a 9-volt anywhere in this unless you put a 9-volt in to take up the entire frame. So if you put a 9-volt in there, there is no room for board anywhere. So you either have to put the board in the tube, like Brad and some others have creatively done, which is a perfectly excellent solution, or we could go with a battery. So I chose to go with a 4.7 volt lithium ion battery that is rechargeable off a USB, which is really nice. It's 800 milliamps. The stock ones are less than that. So once we hook this in, so with that battery connected, this battery, the whole thing, will just slide nicely right into the tube. Okay, and here's your charger port. So we could actually charge it. I would not charge it with the battery in the gun, which is why I left you enough that you could pull it out, set the battery out and charge it, put it back in. Okay, so I'm gonna start wiring things up and I will do a second video. Alright guys, I'm going to do my very best at installing this. I am terrible at LEDs, so that being said. So the first thing I'm going to do is install the micro switch. I'm going to install it with the leaf down, and I'm going to just do my best to line it up here, put a pin in. Like I said, I am not good at these. Let's see. I'll do the top one first. And I pushed it right through. Awesome. I had it lined up at least. So let's try that again. Okay. First pin's in. And now rotate it down. And drop the second pin in. Okay, the micro switch is installed. I actually like to cheat here, and I put a tiny piece of Scotch tape over top of this. It gets covered by the grips. Pins can't fall out, and nobody is the wiser. So I like to do that. That's just my own personal preference. Okay, so now I have the micro switch cable in, and I have the battery cable in. Like I said, I was going to go, I soldered the JST connector for the solenoid on, and I've got my LED, so I'm going to feed that down here. Do the solenoid first. Okay, so my solenoid wire is fed through. My battery connector is fed through. And last but not least would be my LED. And let's see, there we go. LEDs through. Okay. So I am going to put my back plate on here. And I'm just going to throw a standard screw in just to hold that in place. So you can see what that looks like with the LED there. Okay. Going to push the battery wires in, feed all the rest of the wires through. So everything is in the trigger frame. And I can slide that up without pinching it. There we go. And there's all my wires. Okay. And I'm just going to drop. Of course I forgot the trigger spring, but I'll keep going just to show you. Like I said, I am horrendous at working on LEDs. Hate them, hate them, hate them. Okay. Now, the kit, I'll actually label the difference between the Noid, the battery, and the micro switch, so you don't have to figure it out. Okay? So, I know this is the Noid. The board has labels on it, so this is going to be the Noid. Okay, this right here is the definitely going to need to label this for the kit. So I am not seeing which one micro switch is. This is why I hate working on LEDs. These will be nice and color coded for you. Let's see. That is the micro switch. Okay, so the micro switch is, and I look at my labels here, micro switch is here. this one is the battery. And the easy one is the LED. Now I don't have eyes on this, but if I did, they would go right here. Okay. Put that back up. Make sure no wires are pinched. Okay, and before I button anything up, I'm going to plug battery in and make sure everything's good. So turn it on with the standard slide switch. We've got our board, and you can see the light on the back. The LED boards will come with the eyes disabled. So that's the red light, and if you can hear it, nice and easy. There is buttons on the board, so you could go to take the grip off and use the buttons, or you can just use your phone for Bluetooth. So auto, I think I have that at about 8. I think that's what the default eyes off is. Okay, power off. You see how nice these batteries fit in here, so we can slide this wire in and these just slide right in. Okay, tuck that behind the plug and you are good. And when you want to charge it, you can just pull that charging connector out. You don't have to disconnect anything. I would recommend doing that so that you can charge it, just in case there's an issue with the battery. It does not affect the gun, but you don't have to disconnect anything. You can charge it right with it still connected. Okay, so I'm gonna drop the board in place here. Use just a standard grip frame screw from the LCD series, which will be provided because they came with this big old hex screw cap head. And then the last thing is, I wanted to show you these nice grips from Chavout. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. They come either with a beautiful stippling or a slick gloss. I'm going to show you the stippled ones. These will be an optional add-on. You could easily throw your Fat Boy grips on here and it would be a complete stealth install. No one would ever know you had an updated board in there. But these will drop right on. And you'll be able to order these directly from him if you want. Tuck those wires in. Plenty of room. And last but not least, tuck the battery plug in here. Make sure I do not cross thread it. biggest fan. There we go. Nice and easy. And the last thing would be the breech knob. And one last screw. And there you go. One completely stealth Enoch Angel LED.